Yeah, there is an interesting question. What happens at the time of death? Is there liberation possible at the time of death? What is the role of Guru at the time of death? The discussion was around the liberation of mother of Sri Ramana Maharshi. So let me tell the story of mother of Ramana Maharshi, her liberation at the time of death. The liberation at the time of death is called Mahasamadhi, means final merger with the Paramatma. If it is a complete Videha Mukti. So liberation at the time of death, what will happen? What happened to Sri Ramana Maharshi's mother? Sri Ramana Maharshi's mother was staying in Ramanashram, taking care of a lot of activities in Ramanashram, doing service at Ramanashram. She had left her home and stayed with Ramana Maharshi, was staying in Arunachala. She was taking care of cooking, taking care of people who are coming there. No doubt, she was a very, very evolved soul, a great being. Otherwise, how can she give birth to Sri Ramana Maharshi? Obviously, she was very, very evolved, enlightened soul. That Ramana Maharshi's mother, she had not realized the formless aspect of divinity. For her, the form is the divinity. Form is God. So once the form is God, it's called Upasana. The formless, it's called Saguna Upasana with the form. And Nirguna Upasana is the formless. Nirguna Upasana gives rise to liberation. Nirguna, Jnana. First it will be Upasana, then Jnana. Nirguna Upasana, then Jnana. Nirguna Upasana gives rise to Jivan Mukti. Sri Ramana Maharshi's mother was doing selfless service, Karma Yoga, in the ashram, and she was meditating often. But still, she had not realized the Nirguna form. And she was becoming old and death was approaching. At one time, she had a vision of Sri Ramana Maharshi, her son. His form dissolving and appearing like a Shivalinga with the light. Form of Ramana Maharshi dissolving and appearing as a Shivalinga with light, in the light form. This was an indication to her. Ramana Maharshi is not the form. Ramana Maharshi is formless. Remember, she is the mother and Ramana Maharshi is the son. She is not able to bear that son being formless. She says, I want my son back. I want to see my human form of Ramana Maharshi. Are you getting what I'm saying? So then another occasion for her, in her vision, Ramana Maharshi appeared with the snakes on his neck, indicating that Ramana Maharshi is nothing but Shiva. She was not able to bear that. She said, I want to see my son. That means somehow she was not able to accept the formless aspect of divinity. So this has happened. Just her death was approaching. One day, she fell ill. Her death was approaching. Then Ramana Maharshi sat near her. He kept one hand on the chest, right side of the chest, and another hand on Sahasrara. Okay, two hands, one hand on the chest and another hand on Sahasrara. He sat like that for 2 hours. Ramana Maharshi's mother passed away. She attained Mahasamadhi. Mahasamadhi means the final merger of the soul with Paramatma. It's called Videha Mukti. There's no birth after that. The wave has merged with the ocean. There's no more wave. The river has merged with the ocean. There's no more river. The soul merges with the Paramatma. It's called Mahasamadhi. Whereas Samadhi, when we speak of Samadhi, is a meditation practice. It's a temporary merger. Mahasamadhi is a final merger. Mahasamadhi or Videha Mukti or Parinirvana, all those words mean same thing. The final liberation. So then people asked Ramana Maharshi, what happened when you sat with your mother? Then Ramana Maharshi said, lot of deep-rooted impressions in her, vasanas, started coming out. That's why he kept one hand on the right side of the chest. The right side of the chest here is the spiritual heart. So Ramana Maharshi says, our spiritual heart is just on the right side, center of the chest, right side. The center of chest is called Anahata Chakra. Left side is called physical heart. Right side is called spiritual heart. Our deep-rooted impressions will start sprouting from the spiritual heart. So that from the spiritual heart, these impressions will go to the brain, Adna, and the brain cavity. Then they'll become thoughts. Here, there's just a vibration at this place. So once they become thoughts, these thoughts will take you to some place, the future birth. So what Ramana Maharshi did, by keeping his hand on the right side of the chest, he was keeping the subconscious impressions rising, you're stopping it before they become thoughts. Subconscious impressions, vibrations start, they'll go to the brain, then they'll become thoughts. So before that, he stops at the chest level, at the spiritual heart level. Then what happened? The subconscious impressions started reducing. And the awareness, individual awareness, Jiva, merged with the Paramatma. So Ramana Maharshi explains this like this. The subconscious impressions start rising. Then subtle body, Sukshma Sharira. The subconscious impressions go to the brain, become thoughts. Then subtle body will take the thought and go to the next body. Sukshma Sharira will take the thought, based on the thought, last thought, it will go to the next body. Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yam yam sparan bhavam tejandehe kalavaram. Whatever thought comes to you at the last moment, that thought will take you to next life. So thought will come here in the brain. Vibrations and vasanas will rise from the spiritual heart, but fundamentally to get converted, they have to come to the brain. So Ramana Maharshi prevented these subtle impressions becoming thoughts by keeping his hand on the chest. The thoughts will take you to next life. So when the subconscious impressions are not rising, because Ramana Maharshi had kept his hand on the mother's chest, the subtle body of the mother of Sri Ramana Maharshi started dissolving, because subtle body now has no place to go, direction to go. When the subtle body dissolved, the vasanas are not rising, his mother attained liberation. Then Sri Ramana Maharshi says, the liberation at death for his mother was because of the great good karma done in many Jarma lifetimes. No, obviously she was a great soul, Mahatma. Okay, and that's why she gave birth to Ramana Maharshi. Such a noble soul, because of such a noble soul, she got the opportunity to have Ramana Maharshi near her deathbed. Who is it? Brahma Varishta. It's a rare, it's like a rare, what I'm saying is it's a rare opportunity. Not everybody gets that opportunity. A Mahatma, Jivan Mukta, Brahma Varishta sitting near the bedside and liberating somebody at the time of death. It doesn't come easily. It comes because of many janmas of good samskar, not because she is Ramana Maharshi's mother. There's no mother and son. It is because of her good punya karma, nishkama karma which has done, she has earned that. It's not because Ramana Maharshi's mother. There's no personal relationship there. Okay. So now what is the importance of a Brahma Varishta, a Jivan Mukta, sitting near the person who is dying? That we'll understand. Sri Ramana Maharshi's mother obviously had not realized the Nirguna Nirakara form before death. If she had realized, then she is already Jivan Mukta. She is liberated while he is alive, or she is alive. Obviously, she has not become Jivan Mukta, but she is a great advanced seeker with lot of good karma, lot of nishkama karma, lot of punya, but not liberation, not Jivan Mukti before death. The death offers an opportunity to everybody to take next life. Death offers an opportunity for everybody to next life. Because at the time of death, what will happen? The body becomes weak. The mind becomes subtle. The subtle mind starts releasing grip on the body. Mind is like a driver, body is the vehicle. So what happens at the time of death? Legs will become cold, head will become, body will become cold. Okay, eyes will not be able to function. The speech will go, ears will go, ears will not be able to hear. Ears will be able to hear, but the last thing. But then ears are the last. Ears, the person will be able to hear till the last moment. Tongue will not be able to speak. Okay, ears will be able to function because ears belong to space element. So that will be still active. Space is the last thing. So then what happens? At the time of death, the mind, subtle body is releasing grip on the physical body. It's like a subtle body is like a driver. Driver starts losing grip on the body. which is the vehicle. Then mind starts realizing its limitation. Limitation of the body is gone for the mind, jiva. So the mind expands. Mind is now free, momentarily. Not for a long time, momentarily. Okay. For most of the people who have not done any sadhana, spiritual practice, karma yoga, upasana, this moment is very short. It is like this, it will disappear. There's no decision making possible there. Their vasanas will come out, immediately they'll take another body and go. It's like a rapid movement. For the people who are not done spiritual sadhana, who are not understood the mind, who are not done understood the adhyatma sadhana, that's a very small fraction of a time. They don't even last like this. It's like almost like when you go to sleep, you fall into, you go to sleep, you don't even recognize when you are fallen asleep, then you don't even recognize when the dream has come. It's all very happens without unconsciously. That's the case with most of the people who are not done any spiritual sadhana. Unconscious impressions come, rapidly they will take, rapidly last thought will come and then go. But Sri Ramana Maharshi's mother is a great soul, noble seeker, Mahatma. Even though she has not become Jivan Mukta, at that moment, death offers an opportunity for liberation. The death offers an opportunity for liberation for the person who has a good karma, who has done nishkama karma, who has done upasana. For them, the opportunity arises. Others, for other people, it will be just, there's no opportunity. It is all unconscious, it will come. Just like when you get angry, there's no consciousness. Suddenly you'll get angry. The impressions will rise. So now when that impression rises, you don't have a choice. You'll take a next birth. That didn't happen in case of Ramana Maharshi's mother, because obviously she is not an ordinary person. She is extraordinary. The death gave a window of opportunity. What is the window of opportunity? A Brahma Varishta sitting near the bedside, a Mahatma sitting near the bedside and guiding the process of death, which is very, very rare and great opportunity for any living being. It's an honor, or it's the absolute. It's like a blessing. So that opportunity Ramana Maharshi's mother got. So now, what happens to a soul at the time of death for death? Our deep-rooted subconscious impressions will start coming in the spiritual heart, which is right side of the chest. They will rise and bombard the mind. The last predominant thought will come up. That will take you to the next life. You have made a choice. The soul has made a choice. Jiva has made a choice. But because of unconscious living, the choice is also unconscious. Predominant vasana will come and go next. But for a spiritual seeker, he has done a conscious life, he has done a spiritual sadhana. So the thoughts, there will be opportunity. This in Tibetan Buddhism, they call this as bardos. Bardos means a window of opportunity between 2 points. The window is open. After some time it will close. After thought comes, it closes. But before thought comes, the mind has become free from the body. The new thought has not come. That time is the window of opportunity. The mind has become free. Now mind is able to choose. In that choice, only subconscious impressions are there in one hand. Then the spiritual liberations on the other hand. Those who have seen the Matrix movie, it's a red pill and blue pill. Like that, one hand, red pill and blue pill is there in one hand, other blue pill. If you take blue pill, you'll get into sort of freedom. And if you take red pill, you'll get into Matrix or Maya, like that. So the nature offers two choices. One is your subconscious impressions, choice based on subconscious impressions. and there is choice based on liberation. So now the jiva has to decide between these two, which one I choose. A very mature seeker, advanced seeker, obviously will choose the liberation path. So the death gives an opportunity for final liberation or mahasamadhi or videha mukti. That can happen only for a mature seeker with a lot of good karma, lot of nishkama karma. Right? For other people, also there is a choice. So the question asked is this choice offered to everybody? Everybody gets a choice. Okay. Is a criminal also get a choice? He'll also get a choice. But the choice is not between liberation and vasana, between vasana number 1 and vasana number 2. Understand? For a spiritual seeker, the choice, one hand, right hand side, choice is liberation. And left hand side, vasana to take a birth in another family, another place. For people who are not done sadhana, people who karma is not good, one vasana will take you to one loka, another vasana will take you to another birth. That means the choice is between two vasanas, not between liberation and vasana. They will get a choice, but the choice will be, predominant choice will be one vasana to take birth in another place. They'll also get a choice, but the choice is not between liberation and vasana. Between vasana and vasana, they'll get a choice. So Ramana Maharshi's mother got a choice between liberation and vasana. And because Ramana Maharshi's hand was there on her chest, the vasanas got subdued. The liberation opened up and she attained Mahasamadhi. This is what happened in case of Sri Ramana Maharshi's mother. That's what I understand. Now, the question comes, what is the role of Guru? So the question is, did Ramana Maharshi violated the laws of the universe? Ramana Maharshi didn't violate the laws of the universe at all. So that's why I told earlier itself. It is not because Ramana Maharshi's mother, he is sitting there. Ramana Maharshi and his mother relationship is not there. They are not biological mother, biological son relationship is not there. Ramana Maharshi is Nirguna Nirakara. Ramana Maharshi's mother is advanced seeker, upasaka. Very, very advanced. And imagine how advanced she must be to give birth to a child called Ramana Maharshi. So she got what she deserved because of a lot of good karma, lot of good prarabdha. Her son was sitting beside her. But please understand, this is not a biological relationship. Ramana Maharshi is Jivan Mukta, and his mother, Ramana Maharshi came to his mother, who is an evolved soul. This is not about mother-son relationship at all. So her prarabdha karma, her good karma brought this. Okay. Is that clear? So that led to liberation. Now what happened to other people who are upasakas? The people who are upasakas, they have not attained Jivan Mukti because they have not been able to come out of a Saguna form. They are not gone to Nirguna. What happened to them? Upasakas are two types: Devata Upasaka and Guru Upasaka. Devata Upasaka means somebody worships deity, Vishnu, Rama, Krishna, whatever deity. And Guru Upasaka, somebody has gone beyond deity upasana, and now for him Guru is the deity. Deity Guru is the mukti. Whereas a Saguna Upasaka Rama, Krishna or Devata, and a Upasaka of Guru, for mukti. These two types of people will look at it. So because the person has spent in upasana, the mind is purified to an extent, but he has not got a jivan mukti. He has not realized the self. But because of upasana, because of karma yoga, because of upasana, mind is purified to a large extent, but not liberated. Not jivan mukti has happened. Then what happened? At the time of death for such a upasaka, the mind again starts losing control of the body. Body is left. So you can imagine the situation is like there's a driver, I have a vehicle, and the vehicle has become old. I want to leave this vehicle and take a new vehicle. So before buying a new vehicle, I have a choice. I can go to Maruti, I can go to Tata, I can go to BMW, I can have a choice. The vehicle is in the body. Or I may decide that I don't want to buy a vehicle. I don't want to buy a vehicle, it's called mukti. The choice will open up. For a upasaka who has already purified, whose maturity has gone to, his purity has gone to high level. So now for him, also thoughts will open up. Two types of thoughts will open up. One is vasana related, because he still has a body concept. As long as I am the body concept is there, vasanas will come. Then another thought will come. The deity appears to him in some form, in the form of light or in the form of physical form of the deity. However he has done upasana, the deity will appear to him. If it's the guru will appear to him. Now, the guru or deity appearing to him is not because subconscious impression. It is a superconscious mind which operates. The vasanas are coming from subconscious. The superconscious mind, the deity or guru will appear. So vasanas are appearing from subconscious, from superconscious, deity or guru will appear. Now he has to make a choice between the left hand and right hand. Left hand, go to the deity loka, or right hand, take another body. If the vasana is still strong, so he'll take a body and go to take another birth. And of course, he'll continue his journey of spiritual journey in the next birth. Let us take care of the deity upasaka. Upasaka of the deity. Okay. So what happened to upasaka of deity? Obviously, the upasaka of deity wants to be the deity. He is not looking for mukti. The mukti for a upasaka of deity is 4 types: Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, and Sayujya. The closer to deity, Salokya. Samipya, in the loka of the deity, Salokya. Closer to deity is called Samipya. And taking the form of deity called Sarupya, and merging with the deity called Sayujya. So obviously, whatever is the desire of the upasaka, he will go with the deity for that loka. The presence of the deity will take him to that loka. Vishnu loka, Vaikuntha loka, or Shiva loka, whatever loka he has done upasana. And depending on his upasana, he will be Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sayujya, and eventually he'll get a Jivan Mukti. He will Mukti after long time being in that loka. That means he's taken a birth in the another loka. That loka is called Brahma loka, as per the Brahma Sutra. Okay, that means he's taking a birth. But somebody has gone beyond deity upasaka. Now, for him, Guru is the upasana. Why? He is now not seeking a birth in another loka. He is seeking mukti. That's why he has become Guru, his Guru, or Shiva has become his Ishtadevata. Dhyana Moolam, Gurur Murtihi, Puja Moolam, Gurur Padam, Mantra Moolam, Gurur Vakyam, Moksha Moolam, Guru Kripa. Only the people who are seeking moksha, they will become upasaka of the Guru in that sense. Because they meditate on the teachings, they meditate liberation. So, but he has not, because of his prarabdha karma, he has not got a Jivan Mukti. We are speaking of that person. So for that person, Guru will appear from the superconscious mind. And Guru will remind him of the teachings, Jivan Mukti, at that time. And on the other hand, the vasanas will rise, subconscious impression will rise, and superconscious will rise. So depending on the force of vasana, subconscious impressions or superconscious, he will make a choice. Guru will remind him, this is what I taught you, this is Jivan Mukti, this is the opportunity of liberation. Now he'll make a choice. If he makes a choice based on the Guru's teaching, then he'll get Mukti. He'll get Mahasamadhi. Or he says, my vasanas are there, so then he'll take a path of next life. This is what happens in case of a deity upasaka or guru upasaka at the time of death. A deity upasaka will go to that loka, whereas guru upasaka has a chance of liberation, because guru upasana is always for mukti. So the question is, will guru override the vasana, or he'll just give a advice? Guru will give a clear instruction, clear advice. But finally, Guru will not force anybody. If you remember Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, he gives Vishwarupa, gives a teaching, everything. Then he says to Arjuna, I have told you everything. Now do what you want to do. So the Guru is not a dictator who will force anybody. Paramatma is not a dictator who will force anybody. Guru will tell, this is the right thing to do. This is the way to do. Now it's up to you to decide. Okay. So in the sense, Guru will not force anybody. Guru will say, this is the path to go. That's what Sri Krishna did to Arjuna. He showed Vishwarupa, he gave the teaching, everything. After that, he said, no, do what I say. I'm Paramatma, do what I say. He never said that. I'm Guru, do what I say. He said, these are the two things. Now you have a choice. With that choice, what you want to do, you do. That's what he said. So Guru will take that approach. He says, this is the choice available to you at this moment. Mukti. You decide. Okay. Even if the seeker doesn't decide to get the mukti at that time, obviously he has come to such a maturity, he may take another birth, and maybe 1 or 2 births, he will get a liberation, because his vasanas have come to that level. But if he has already done a good service, karma yoga, upasana, very likely that he will take a path of mukti. Is that clear? So then he will attain the mukti. So the question is, in that stage, will the mind have clarity to take a decision? The mind will have crystal clear clarity at the time of death, because the mind loses the control. Mind comes out of the body. Mind is leaving the body. The limitations of body are gone. The mind has become serene and silent. The mind has get clarity. Okay. So that clarity, in that clarity, decisions can be taken. Very clear decision can be taken by the mind. That's why the next life is your choice, real choice. It's not a force in that sense. That's why if you look at our Purana, what they say, at the time of death, the two people, Chitragupta, they're sitting on their shoulder. They have a recording of your karma. So they will show you our karmic impressions. Then, based on the karmic impression, Jiva says, I want to take this birth. The choice is given to Jiva by showing the karmic record. It's not that the Yamadarmara will force you to the next level. So Jiva says, this is what I not have done. This karmic lesson I have to learn. That's why I will take a new birth. So the choice is given to Jiva. Okay. So the mind will be very clear. The mind will have the ability to take correct decision at the time of death. So this is what happened to Mukti. So now the question comes, what is the importance of a physical presence of the Guru versus what is the presence of, what is the importance of, if the Guru is not physically present, what will happen? See, the physical presence of the Guru is definitely beneficial. No doubt about it. Why it's beneficial, I'll tell you. So let us say a child is in their house. Okay. Everybody who comes to the house, looking at the child, they start feeling smile. They relax themselves. Why? The child has no ego. Even a person with a grim face starts smiling, tries to want to touch the child, feel the child, because child is egoless. The presence of the egoless child affects the people around. Even the person is very grim and serious faced, looking at the child, he relaxes. Ego starts relaxing in the presence of egoless. The child is egoless but ignorant, Adnani. Whereas Gnani is egoless and he's Gnani, pure awareness. Naturally, in the presence of Gnani, the ego starts losing its grip, loosens up. No doubt about it. That's why people go to Mahatmas to seek the blessing. That's why people go to seek the blessing of a Gnani. People get attracted to Gnani or Mahatma because of this reason. It is said that Gnani or Mahatma has a Tejas. Tejas means illuminating power. In the presence of Mahatma or Gnani, people start relaxing. The ego starts losing itself. Ego cannot stand in the presence of egoless, or it becomes weak. That's why people want to attend satsang. People want to be in the company of Mahatma as often as possible. So now, the physical presence of a Mahatma is a great blessing at the time of death. No doubt about it. Why? The moment physically present, immediately the mind relaxes at the time of death. That's why in Tibetan Buddhism, bardos, they say presence of the Guru at the time of death is a great blessing. If there is no Guru, they will invite a Lama. A Lama is not enlightened, but Lama, what he will do, he will try to read out the Tibetan Book of Dead to the person who is dying. That means what will happen after death, the education will start giving for the read out. The person will be able to hear. His eyes are not functioning, breath may not be working, but ear will be last sensation, because hearing will happen. Hearing is related to space. So he is able to listen. So last instructions are given by Lama. So that will also help. Tibetan Book of Death is read. Okay. So if enlightened master is not there, if enlightened master is there, the presence itself will start calming down the vasanas, and the mind will become much more purer, and the decision will be made very quickly in case of death. Is that clear? So now the problem here is to have a Mahatma, to have a Gnani sitting near your bedside at the time of death is a result of rare prarabdha karma. It's like a blessing of many lifetimes. It doesn't happen to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Understand? It happened to Ramana Maharshi because she is mother of Ramana Maharshi. She gave birth to Ramana Maharshi. That means you should understand how evolved soul she is. And she spent all her life in the Ramana Maharshi's ashram in her old age doing service, karma yoga, feeding people, okay, taking care of people. She lived a life of selfless service. So for that opportunity opened up. Having an enlightened master, a Jivan Mukta or Brahma Varishta sitting at your bedside at the time of death is a very rare opportunity available to only very blessed souls. Not everybody gets that opportunity. But what happens, most of the people who have done upasana, so this is actually a physical form of the Guru. Physical form of the Guru has a lot of impact, because the person who is dying still has identity as a body. So physical form of the Guru and his identity matches, and there's a lot of impact is much more at the time of death. The clarity is much more. Whereas person who has no physical form of the Guru, let's say some deity upasana is done, for him our Guru upasana is done, but Guru is not sitting beside, then Guru or deity will appear in subtle form or astral form. The astral form also will be clear. That's called vision. Okay. Very clearly, Guru or deity will appear in the astral form at the time of death. So then opportunity opens up. So the best thing to die is a Jivan Mukta or enlightened master sitting near. Next best thing to happen is somebody who knows about Mukti, who is able to guide Mukti through teaching of Upanishad or Vedanta at the time of death. Upanishad teaching like Kathopanishad or Brahma Sutra teachings about death, somebody is able to give at the time of death. A Pandita will do. That's a good thing. Because hearing will be still there. So then the mind also starts getting subtle form of the Guru or subtle form of Devata. Subtle means is not subtle. It will be very concrete, visibly concrete. You'll feel as if you are talking like in a dream. What happened? That will open the opportunity for liberation. So this is about people who have done great upasana. The upasaka, when he leaves the body, see, we have 7 chakras: Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Adna, Sahasrara. A person who has not done upasana, okay, his energy is always centered in the lower center: Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura. Eating, mating, and survival. Obviously, his prana will go through the lower level nadis. And if he is tamasic, he will take a birth in the animal world. If he is rajasic, his prana will go through the mid-level nadis and he will go to earthly plane again to experience his karma. If he is higher upasaka, his consciousness is always centered on the Adna chakra. Then he will go through, leave the prana through Adna or Brahmarandra and go to that loka, Brahmaloka. Of course, the deity appears there. Okay. So if it is Adna chakra, the deity appears in subtle form or astral form. If it is Sahasrara, the deity doesn't happen. He merges with the deity. It's like almost like a Sayujya. He will go. So this is what happened in case of a upasaka. So Urdu loka, higher level loka, or mid level loka, and lower level loka. These were different types of people. So typically, people who have done good karma, they may leave the body through Adna chakra and go to the astral world of Devata loka. Enjoy Swarga. The lower level chakras, Papa karma, they may enter into animal world. This is what I understand as the process of death. Now, any clarification is required in this, what I've said? Anybody has a question? So is that clear to you?
Guruji, the world of the demigods and the Pitrus. So that is also just one another loka in this realm.
Yeah, there are 14 lokas, meaning earthly plane and Brahma loka. So there are 14 lokas. Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka, higher lokas. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala, lower lokas. Lower level lokas are denser planets. Higher level lokas are rarer, I mean, it's the subtler planets. Devaloka comes in the third level. So now, in the Adna chakra, the vision appears in the form of subtle forms. With the higher level loka, subtle form. Even Yamadharmaraya and all those things will appear in the subtle form in the Adna chakra. Does it answer your question?
Yeah. So that is about the Devaloka and other lokas. But the loka of the demigods, Kshudra Devata, and the Pitruloka, are they in the same 7 higher level lokas?
Yeah, in the 7, in the demigods, see the demigods and asuras, right? They're counterparts. The forces of positive and positive. Asuras are in the same thing in the lower level lokas. Okay. Demigods in the higher level loka, one of these upper level lokas.
Okay.
Indra, Varuna, Agni, different devatas in the higher level lokas. So this is my understanding. Any questions are there? I have based my understanding based on Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, and Tibetan Book of Dead, Bardos.
So the impact is same, right? I mean, the physical presence of Guru while death, or the vision of Guru is the physical.
Yeah. No, of course.
Because you said the impact of a physical presence is more than the subtle vision of Guru.
No. What will happen? See, the physical presence definitely has a impact, right? But what will happen? It's like it is like somebody is getting into a train. Okay, go to next station. So now the physical presence of Guru is like Guru has come before boarding the train, which means your mind is conscious, mind is working, working. Whereas the subtle form of the Guru is after you have boarded a train, somebody is guiding you. The physical activities come down. But both, because of the prarabdha karma, will give a clear options in both the cases. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. And what I choose is based on how I have lived predominantly.
It's your actually summary of your life. Okay. It's not that Guru will force anything. Guru is not violating in law of karma. Guru is following law of karma. Guru is enabling the law of karma to operate. If you have done very good prarabdha karma, if you have done good punya, then that merits the presence of a living enlightened master in your death. Otherwise, the master will appear in your vision very clearly in case of a upasaka. So this is a result of karma, how you have lived your life.
Prabhuji, Hari Om, Purnima.
Yes, Purnima.
Even the higher level lokas, there's they can come down to Bhuloka, right? After you go to the higher level loka, like Pitruloka, so definitely we will come back. That there is one cutoff point where you will not come back down to earth, but you will go higher.
That's called Brahma Loka.
Brahma Loka.
See, the Deva Loka and Pitruloka,
yes,
okay, they are quite slightly different. Heaven and Pitruloka. Okay, in a train, when you get a reservation, first class AC, first class, second class AC, there are different compartments.
Correct.
Understand?
Yeah.
Those who go to Pitruloka are in the lower level compartment. Those who go to the Devaloka or Swargaloka have higher level compartment.
Okay.
Why they are in higher level compartment is they go to Swargaloka, they have done good amount of punya. So they get a special treatment.
Right.
Those who go to Pitruloka, they get a second level treatment because they have not done any extra good punya. They have lived their life according to dharma.
Okay.
Right? They have done the minimum requirement in life. They have not gone right extra.
Right. Okay.
Understand? So Devaloka, Pitruloka are still lokas where Devaloka you go, Swargaloka you go, exhaust your punya and come back. Pitruloka you go, you take another birth. It's like a Pitruloka is a transition point. Junction. So Pitruloka is slightly lower than the Devaloka in that sense. Okay. But then Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka, Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka is somebody has done upasana Brahma, he want to get a mukti. He has done upasana Brahma with the deity. Whereas in between lokas, there are beings who are not looking for mukti. Okay, they are looking for tapasya, meditation, spiritual practices, guiding the world, like Maharshis, right? They want to manage the world, they want to guide the world. So they will be in like a tapoloka and all.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Clear?
Yes.
Yes, Guruji.
Anybody else? Any questions? So these Maharshis, tapoloka and all this loka, the Maharshis, okay, they can come to earth once in a while to correct, give dharma, and go back to tapoloka. They are not born because of karma. They are coming here to guide.
Choice.
Right? Whereas in Brahmaloka, the people who go to Brahmaloka, Vaikuntha Loka, they will be the Brahman. Okay. So they may take incarnation when Parabrahma takes avatara to support. Even other lower lokas also, people may come when the Parabrahma takes avatar as a support staff. Like a prime minister goes, IAS officer will come follow like that.
Guruji, is there something like a deciding force, like which jiva gets liberated, or who actually decides, or
So no.
It's a very vague question.
There's nobody who decides. It's ultimately jiva makes a decision. Jiva always gets two choices. Mysore pak or laddu. Why will you choose laddu? Nobody knows. Right? So, I mean, always we get some choice in life. No, every time you look at your life, every time you got a choice. By marriage, you got a choice. Okay, and have to have children, not to have children. You have a choice. But somehow our impressions will decide. This is I like. Ultimately, your choice is based on the likes and dislikes what you do. But the likes and dislikes are normally based on subconscious impressions. But somebody who has spent his life on spiritual sadhana, he is able to look at likes and dislikes very clearly. He is able to discriminate. Now, likes and dislikes are not based on vasanas. Likes and dislikes are based on the Atma, Sakshi. So that's why his choices are much more clearer based on Atmadnana. I mean, he's not fully realized, but he works according to higher consciousness rather than the lower consciousness. Still, it's a choice. You have a choice based on lower consciousness, or you have a choice based on the higher consciousness. Are we clear?
Yeah.
But Guruji, does the Guru have a choice? Can Guru exercise his superior will and take pity on the disciples and take them, even though they might not be totally eligible or something?
No, I told you, 1 minute, there's a, can you pause, guys? No. So the question is, will Guru or God override the desire of a disciple? See, by nature, a free will is given to all jivas. Okay. So the free will can be unconsciously or consciously. The free will is not violated even by Paramatma. That's what happened in Arjuna. Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, so I have told everything, but now you choose. Shri Krishna never says, I am Paramatma, listen to my words. He doesn't override. He gives all teaching, which is higher consciousness. And he says, now you decide based on the vasana and higher teaching. But that very fact that the whole thing is given is almost overriding vasana. Now still you have an impression, it's up to you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, the free will, it is apparent, may not be real, because our free will is based on vasanas and programs. Still I have a free will. That free will is not violated in case of anybody, any jiva. So forget about jiva, Paramatma violating. You have children, right?
Yes.
Can you force your child?
A baby, when it's a baby, perhaps we can, force the baby to take some medicine or something.
but very difficult now. That
Yes.
my mind has grown. The child will refuse.
Yes.
Even a child, parents cannot force. Free will, they cannot override. Even though we know that child is doing wrong, it's very difficult to force a child. You can educate, you can tell, when you may hit also, but ultimately the child has a choice.
We are thinking of Parabrahma can do anything.
No, Parabrahma can do anything, but why will he do? He will
Why?
say, he will give you, based on your karma, he'll give a complete opening. The door will open, the left door will open, and right door will open. He says, now you choose the door.
We will give power of attorney.
Hari Om, Prabhuji.
Hari Om.
Prabhuji, at the time of death, superconscious presenting its picture, and then unconscious presenting its picture, that choice is available. That is very clear.
Right.
So the fact that the jiva, I as the jiva have come back to earth is I've been pulled by the unconscious impressions.
I don't know. Okay, you may have come because of consciously also. I don't know.
So that seems to be more powerful now, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So how, my question is, while forget about death, I mean, as I live now, how can I make the influence of superconscious more prominent than the unconscious?
Very simple. Atmano mokshatam jagadidaya. Every day, every minute, live that life.
But still, there is no guarantee, no, Prabhuji, at the time of death.
No. You see, if you have lived your life like that, right, it's like a student. You are asking the question. There's no guarantee. Okay, there's no guarantee like anything in life. A student is studying for IIT. He'll say, I study well, I am brilliant. Is there a guarantee that I'll get 99.999% of the mark? See, you can do your best. This is the best you can do. Right? So now there's nothing more than that you can do.
So when I at the time of death, when I succumb to the lower desires, then I still have the opportunity in the next life. Is that what is present?
That's right. See, the opportunity is there.
Okay.
Opportunity is given to every jiva. But what opportunity is given is different.
Okay.
For a person who has spiritually matured,
okay,
the opportunity is liberation or going to Devaloka or higher loka versus taking another birth in the earthly plane, continuing your worldly life.
Okay.
Whereas a person who has not done spiritual sadhana, he has no choice at all. No, Devaloka, the higher level loka or liberation is not a choice because he has not worked on that. For him, the choice is between one type of birth and another type of birth.
Okay. Okay. But when there is a choice by stroke of love to go to a higher level loka, that is still not mukti, no, Prabhuji. We still have to come back to the earthly plane and get
higher level loka, up to Devaloka, up to Swarga loka, you have to come back. Beyond Swarga loka to other Brahma loka, up to Brahma loka, no. Brahma loka, you don't have to come back. Other level loka, you continue your sadhana or probably will guide the world, guide the teaching like Rishi, sages, like that.
Okay. Okay. But that is still a state of mukti only.
It's not mukti. It's not mukti. Mukti is only when Jivan mukti, which is completely merged with when you are alive.
Okay.
Or Videha mukti, liberation at the time of death. Going to a higher level loka, maybe other loka, it is taking another birth. It's a better quality of life, better cause.
So it's still in that sense, it is still incomplete as from the mukti point of view.
It is incomplete. It's called krama mukti typically.
Okay.
Right? So even birth in Brahma loka or higher level loka is called krama mukti. It is not complete mukti.
Okay. Okay. So then the real mukti comes. I mean, that means my question is, suppose as a jiva, I have attained by stroke of luck or sadhana a higher level loka, not to come back to the earthly plane, I still, the Jivan Mukti idea that I am free while living. Now, can I be free while living at that point in that plane?
Which point?
And
No.
in
At
that
point,
plane.
Jivan Mukti is not there still.
Okay, so the jiva, every jiva's right is mukti. So what does mukti mean for a jiva in the higher plane then?
The
Now-
mukti, see, there are two types of mukti: sadhyo mukti
Correct,
and krama mukti.
correct. Okay,
Sadhyo mukti means, okay, sadhyo means immediate liberation while you are alive in the earthly
alive.
place.
Okay,
Okay,
that is jivan mukti.
that's
Okay,
jivan mukti or sadhyo mukti. It's also called.
Okay.
It will happen immediately.
okay,
For a person who has not got jivan mukti, but he has been a very good upasaka, that means he has spent his life spiritually, he has
Okay.
done karma yoga and
Hmm.
qualified himself for higher level loka. It's called krama mukti.
okay,
Krama mukti means
Hmm.
it's not full liberation.
Hmm.
It's gradual promotion.
okay,
So krama mukti goes through what we call as salokya, samipya, sarupya, and sayujya.
okay.
So in the people in the higher level loka
Hmm.
will be one of these stages.
Okay, it's still work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
And still till we attain the state of sayujya, it is incomplete. Some point, even at that point, it will be sayujya.
Yes, but for that,
Hmm.
upasana has qualified you for that loka.
Correct. Huh.
Atmadnana will qualify for mukti. There you'll get a guru and get a Atmadnana in that loka.
In that loka also Atmajnana is possible.
Correct.
Okay, then a guru has to come in that plane.
In that Brahma loka,
Ah.
as per the Upanishad,
Hmm.
the Brahmaji will be your guru.
Okay.
Okay, Brahmaji will be the guru who will be, I mean, maybe there may be a Gurukul or Brahmaji will teach for the people who have come to that loka.
Okay.
Okay, that is for Brahma loka, those who have got Brahma loka.
Okay.
Understand? So now in the Brahma loka, they'll get the guidance from Brahmaji. This is as far as I'm speaking of more of my understanding based on the Brahma Sutra and Upanishad teaching. Brahmaji will be guru in that loka. They
Okay.
will continue to learn with Brahmaji. Okay. Atma Vichara, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa. They will do. And they will get Videha Mukti when Brahmaji lives his life at the time of Pralaya.
Okay. Okay.
So then next Brahmaji will come.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas like people in like Devatas and Rishis and other people who are in different lokas,
Hmm.
they'll also continue. They may be then lokas for guiding the society, going in the world, and all those things. They may continue their studies of Atmadana, Devatas especially. When Atmadana teaching happens in the earthly plane or Brahmaloka, they will attend classes. This is like more like you do know when while working you start doing studies. What do you call it as?
Combined study.
I mean, like I'm in job. While in job, evening time I go in part-time study, no?
Part-time study. Okay. So that's why they say in satsang empty chairs are occupied by devatas.
There is no chair.
I mean, it's a colloquially.
They will the devatas, if the satsang is real, a real gnani is present. Okay, a real gnani is satsang is not about talk. Satsang is the presence of the gnani.
Presence.
Okay, the presence of gnani and what he talks will attract beings from different lokas.
Okay. Okay. So there is a great hope in all for the jiva in all higher level lokas, Prabhuji, for a corresponding for a jiva that has slipped to a corresponding lower level loka. What hope is there?
The lower level
for
loka,
mukti.
Lower level means lower birth.
Lower birth, yes.
Okay, the lower birth. They will have to their lower birth. There's no karma possible. There's nothing more. Learning is possible.
Okay.
So there they have to take the karma. This exhaustion of the karma.
So Guru cannot come in that loka in some form. In that
How
way.
will they come now?
No, okay.
See,
Hmm.
they are not, they have exercised the choice. I mean, I'll give you example, okay?
Okay.
See, the tamoguna is like Kumbhakarna, eating, sleeping.
Hmm.
So the nature says, oh, this person likes eating and sleeping. It's not giving a punishment.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, he likes eating and sleeping.
Hmm.
So let me give him a best birth. It's good for eating and sleeping.
Hmm.
It's not given as a punishment. Please understand.
Hmm.
So the
To
best
enjoy
birth for,
to
best
enjoy
birth-
the existing karma.
No, it's actually enjoy his existing lifestyle.
Okay. Hmm.
Right? His best birth for eating and sleeping
Hmm.
is a python.
Hmm. Hmm.
So python will keep on sleeping and wait for the prey to come and eat it and then sleep. I'm just giving example of python.
Okay. Okay.
Understand?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the nature it's not given as a punishment. Please understand. It is given as a best opportunity for you to experience your current lifestyle or what you are doing.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Right? Similarly,
So
somebody has done a crime. Okay,
Hmm.
somebody is a criminal. Now he is not put into hell to punish him in that sense. So what he does is he likes his crime. Okay. So now what will happen? He will get a birth in a place where most of the criminals come together, like birds flock together.
Okay.
Like attract like
Okay.
that. Okay. So now I am born in an environment, whatever loka, where more criminals are there. So if I'm lesser criminal, the bigger criminal will exploit me. What I have done to others will come to me.
Okay. Okay.
Understand?
Yes. Yes.
It's not given as a punishment. You have what you are attracted.
Hmm. So the hope is that all the karmas or the desires of the lower level desires have to be burnt out by experiencing to rise again to the earthly plane for a guru to come back and guide.
No, you have to come back to earthly plane because earthly plane only where you can do there's a possibility of choice.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
In Swargaloka, there's no choice. In heaven, there's no choice.
Okay.
In heaven, you only have to exhaust punya. There's no choice of doing any good merit. In hell, there's no choice of earning any good merit. Hell, there's only exhaustion. The heaven and hell, where you are exhausting your karma.
Okay. Okay.
Right? There's no further.
Okay.
It's like in some job, if you get in now, there's a job. Heaven, you have to enjoy. Over. Hell, you have to suffer. Over. And exhaust.
Okay.
Are we clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now, only one question, Prabhuji. Okay. Having got the human birth, how do we get pulled to? How do I get pulled to the super conscious?
No, you are getting pulled to super conscious. It is not one lifetime now. It is a many lifetimes of momentum what has brought to human life.
Yes.
Understand?
Okay.
How old are you now?
Physically 62.
How
body.
old are you now?
from the Jnana perspective, by your teaching, ageless.
See, we have been there in creation, right from the day of creation.
Creation, yes.
Because when the creation happened, all of us born in some seed form. Okay? I mean, if you say Big Bang, Big Bang, all started, all life forms became a very rudimentary form, maybe a mineral or whatever is that. And that gradual evolution has taken us millions or trillions of lifetimes to come to human life. It's not overnight. Okay? That's why our scriptures say 64 lakh yonis. Yonis means life forms. In each yoni, multiple lifetimes. So much of maturity has gone through. That's why Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanamante Gnanavan Prapadyate. It will take many lifetimes. Many means it's not just many, it's many. So that momentum has taken us to this level.
Okay.
Right? Same momentum will take you to further.
Mhm. Okay. Prabhuji, from the teachings of Tattva Bodha, when we were doing Manana sessions, this is this is what we understand, that for Stula Sharira there is death, and for Sukshma Sharira is the one that continues. So what continues is basically foolishness, stupidity, ignorance. Whereas once Jnana is there, there is no continuity. So the whole object is to stop the continuity of that foolishness, or that is basically the attraction of the lower level desires, or ignorance to attachment, wrong identification. So how does that kind of, how do I understand that from this at the time of death, the pulling of super conscious?
When we are speaking of at the time of death, we are speaking of people who have not got Atma Dnana.
Okay.
So they are in Upasana, they have done a good service, they are living a dharmic life, they have done their day duties. So those people we are speaking of Upasakas. Even there may be Upasakas, they may have got Jnana also. They may be living with Guru, teaching they have heard, and all those things are possible.
Okay.
But the teaching is not realized. Right? It's like getting teaching is one thing and realization is the next level. So the teaching of Tattvamasi also they might have heard. They might have heard all Upanishads also. But the realization has not happened. Right? For them, I was speaking of all this process of death.
Okay.
Right, no? So, for example, somebody studies in Vedic Gurukula. Okay? He knows all the Veda mantras chanting. He knows Upanishads also. And with Upanishads, he'll do Abhishekam, he'll do Puja, but still he may not realize what is there in Upanishad. Right? But he is doing a good karma. So he will qualify for the birth in higher level lokas.
Okay. So whatever is work in progress, there is an opportunity for higher plane or lower plane, whichever way.
If you have got a Jnana Vidagdha Karmani, Jnana will burn all the karmas. Right?
Okay, Prabhuji.
It should burn. Now you may ask the question, I have heard all Upanishads, I have heard all Vedanta, but still my Jnana is not, I am not stabilized in Jnana. Okay. For that, what has happened is your residual vasanas are there. The vasanas are giving a feeling that I have not realized. The vasana kshaya has to happen. That can happen only karma yoga and upasana or nididhyasa. Sorry, not upasana, nididhyasa. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, Prabhuji, you have given the formula also there. That we have to purification of the mind through karma yoga, that is science and technology. Science is the Upanishads part, Vedanta part, and technology is the yoga part.
Yoga part.
In the
and if you have already got Jnana, nididhyasa is to be considered as practice.
Okay.
Understand?
Wonderful, Prabhuji.
Typically, earlier days, what used to happen? Suppose before giving Atma Jnana to somebody, Guru will expect him to do all karma yoga, service and purification, shama, adama, titiksha, uparati, shraddha, samadhana. All qualities are mature before he gives Jnana. So now that situation is no longer there. Maybe because of you have got a good prarabdha karma, you may come to directly to Jnana. In that case, the Jnana is not stabilized because of the residual impressions, vasanas. Whatever is required, residual impressions, vasanas called impurity of the mind. For that, whatever is required, nididhyasa and karma yoga is what you have to continue, purity of heart.
So, Prabhuji, is the situation for the jiva who is an upasaka and the situation for the jiva who is taken to the jnana but has not completed the vasana kshaya the same at the time of death?
Come back to the question again.
Okay, upasaka at the time of death, depending on, he will reach the higher plane according to the thing, whatever has been his upasana. Now, a jiva who is taken to Jnana Marga under the guidance of a guru, he has heard the teaching, but Vasana Kshaya has not happened yet but life ends. So are the two situations the same?
They are slightly different.
Okay.
The situation
How,
is
Prabhuji?
upasaka.
Hmm.
Okay, upasaka is typically when you speak upasaka, it is upasaka of a deity. Hiranyagarbha, Virat, or anybody.
Here we are talking of upasaka of a guru.
No, that is called, he has taken already Jnana Marga.
Okay, okay,
Right? When you say
Okay.
upasaka of guru or upasaka of Jnana, they mean same thing. Sadguru means
Okay.
Atma, Brahman only.
okay, okay, okay.
So a deity upasaka is still attached to identified as a form. Okay, he has not yet made up his mind for liberation.
Okay, okay.
Right?
Hmm,
He is
hmm,
more focused on continuing life in some form with a
Hmm.
deity.
hmm.
Right? He is not seeking liberation.
Because he likes the relationship with his Lord.
Yes, he likes the relationship with the Lord.
Hmm.
Okay, that's a different situation. That's why you go to that loka.
Hmm.
Whereas somebody has got a upasaka of guru or
Hmm.
upasaka of jnana,
Hmm.
he's already made up his mind. I want to get liberation. Otherwise, he'll not come to upasana.
Okay.
Jnana.
Jnana. Okay.
He has already developed mumukshatva.
Hmm.
His
Hmm.
situation is, I have studied for exam,
Hmm. hmm.
but till the death comes, I have not qualified for Jivan Mukti.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then, at the time of death, he will get an opportunity to review his teachings very clearly and to make a choice.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
At that time,
Hmm.
mind is slightly freer from the body. No, mind has become free from the body. So he has a clarity of making a choice based on vasana or based on teaching.
Okay. 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 So the only way is to live as we live. We have to do Atmano Mokshatam Jagatitaya continuously to make the right choice at the time of death.
Don't
In
make
case
it a
that-
decision. Don't make it a for event for enlightenment or liberation. You focus on what is the right thing to do.
Okay, Prabhuji.
See,
Yes,
we always
Prabhuji.
like, oh, one day enlightenment, one day liberation will happen. All those things, don't worry about that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
You have to ask yourself a question: am I on the right path?
Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
what is the meaning of right path? Right path is progressively you develop qualities of Siddha in your life.
Hmm.
Bhagavad Gita 2.57 to 2.65. The progressively the positive qualities of Sthita Pradhan will develop in your life. Second, progressively negative qualities will come down. Kama, Krodha, Mada, Matsara, Moha, Lobha will come down. It will not become zero, may not become zero. These are called emotional disturbances. That intensity will reduce. Frequency, intensity, and recovery time will reduce. That's what I call as fire. I have told you many times, fire.
Yes, Prabhuji. Fire. Yes.
So
Yes.
you don't wait for an event where someday I got liberated. I got, you can say, you can write in diary at 12.57 hours on such and such a date, I got liberated. Sun was bright. Don't worry about that. Don't make it an event. Make it as a process where progressively Sthita Prajna qualities are developing in your life. Progressively emotional disturbance is coming down.
That is through the yoga. That is through technology.
Shravana, Manana, Atmano Moksha,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a combination, no? That's why Atmano Moksha Jagataya you can't separate out.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Having heard the teaching, now I have to act on it.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
See,
thank you.
Here I have slightly taken a different interpretation of the yoga. In earlier days, you do yoga, then you get a jnana. Yoga you do to purify yourself and get jnana. Yoga is used as a qualification for jnana. Okay. Now I have taken a different interpretation of yoga. Yoga I am calling it application of jnana. That's what Shri Krishna did to Arjuna. He gave him Sankhya yoga. Atmanjnana he gave. Then he said apply karma yoga. So Sri Krishna's definition of yoga, in that sense I have taken.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Are you clear?
Yes. Hari Om, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Wonderful clarity.
Am I clear in my talk? This is what my understanding is.
Yeah. Very clear. Now I have work to do.
Anybody else any questions?
Prabhuji,
Who is asking?
Vijay.
Yes, Vijay.
Prabhuji, the realization seems like very mysterious phenomena. The same talk is heard, but the quality of clarity is different for different minds. So is it a grace?
Not the question is not clear. What is the question?
So the aspect of realization, so the guru is teaching, same teaching is heard by different minds, but the quality of realization is different, is because of one is definitely the residual impressions and whatnot, but there is also an element of some higher power which cannot be explained as to what creates that realization.
See, the higher power or grace, right? It is not a special gift to somebody. The grace is always there in abundance for everybody. Okay, it's like sunlight is there to tree, monkey, tiger, or deer. The grace is the power which is available to all. The grace is like an ocean. Okay, when you go to ocean, how much water you bring? It depends on your vessel. Somebody takes a bucket, somebody takes a spoon, somebody takes a cup. That much water they can bring. How much grace you can absorb is depends on you. How grateful you to live. How much gratitude you have to the universe. The great gratitude attracts more grace in your life. It's not grace is more or less. You are able to receive more grace because of your attitude. Now, attitude is a sense of maturity. As you mature, your subconscious improves you. It's like a gradual growth process. The grace is not more or less to somebody. It is grace is always same. Then if grace is more or less to somebody, then the Ishvara becomes partial. There's no partiality. How much grace you can pick up depends on your growth. It is like a teacher, a professor goes to a classroom and gives the teaching. Every student hears it, but somebody will learn more, somebody will learn less. The teaching is same. In that sense, grace, who will learn, understand more? Who is ready to grasp, focus? Somebody will understand less, same topic. Similarly, the grace is same. Ability to receive will be different depending on the different individuals based on their prarabdha karma and vasana. Does it clarify?
Yes. So my attitude is what I need to work on.
How I am, see, if each of us have every point of time, there's a choice in our life. Okay, that choice is path of dharma, path of mukti, or path of vasana. Moment to moment, we make choice. Okay, a person who is very mature has moment to moment has made a choice towards dharma and mukti. Understand? That gives him more eligible for grace. That's not that grace is more. He is able to receive grace more.
So, Prabhuji, is it that the recognition of what we have is much more than my individual effort? That will open my mind more for grace. Reception, my mind will be more receptive to grace. Because otherwise, if I'm saying I am the cause for my promotion, my increment, my performance, not recognizing others' contribution, simple thing in a transactional plane, or I am breathing, I am living, I am happy. So that breath is also not my cause. It's something more than my individual effort. Is that recognition that there are things happening beyond my physical frame and mental frame that will contribute to greater recognition of the grace?
Yeah, see, it is a maturity of the individual also, right? A person who is not mature, he has a very small picture of life. A person who is mature, he has a bigger picture of life. He understands anything in my life involves totality. So your maturity is nothing but how bigger picture of life you have and how you live according to the bigger picture. Did I answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay? See,
Yes.
let us take a experienced doctor versus an inexperienced doctor. A doctor who has just passed MBBS versus a doctor who has 20 years of practice. Both have studied MBBS. What is the difference? The person who has not done first year of MBBS, he has not seen many patients. His experience of life is very limited. And his treatment also will be having that limitation. Whereas somebody has 20 years of experience, he has much more broader maturity, how to handle different situations in life. Right? Similarly, evolution means you have much more maturity to absorb the teaching in a broader picture.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'll give you another example. Right? So let us say somebody, marriage always has challenges. Understand? So understand the limitation of marriage, to marry or not to marry is a decision. Now, suppose somebody has gone through marriage of, let's say, 200 lifetimes. He has a lot more experience of marriage. Then he can take a decision, or should I get married or not? It's a decision, conscious decision, because he has experience of 200 lifetimes. And there's another person, 200 lifetimes also he has not learned. He will take another decision. Do you get what I'm saying? The maturity happens over many lifetimes.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. Maturity is not to be pulled by the lower level vasanas.
That also will gradually come over now.
Gradually, it's a process. Okay.
Yeah, he'll get pulled, then he'll fall, he'll come back. See, this is what the karmic lesson is about. I'll pull my karma, I'll learn, I'll take many lifetimes to learn, again come up, again fall, like that it will happen. That's why I say universe is a university. It's an education institution where we have come to the universe for education purpose. University of God. In your university, you learn science, physics, chemistry, mathematics. In the University of God, we learn karmic lessons. Now, the karmic lessons is like it's a different way of learning. In university, you get a lesson and you learn something from the lesson. Education and then lesson. In karmic lesson is more like on-job training. You do something, learn from that. So in the university, teaching first, test next. In the University of Life, test first, learning is what you have to incorporate in your life. So we are born into this world for learning our karmic lesson. In that lesson, we learn something, we miss something, we take again birth to learn, we'll miss something. It will take maturity, will happen over a lot of learning which happen over many lifetimes. Now, many lifetimes may look very big for us, but for cosmic scale, many lifetimes is nothing. It's like I think a fraction of a second also, because time scale is not there in the cosmic level.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om.
ಈಗ ಭರತ ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಜಿಂಕೆನ ಜ್ಞಾಪಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಜಿಂಕೆಯಾಗಿ ಹುಟ್ಟದ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜ್ಞಾಪಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹಳೆದನ್ನ ಜಡ ಭರತನಾದ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಗೋವಿಗೆ ರಮಣರು ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಕರುಣಿಸಿದ್ರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಹಾಗೆ ಅದು ಆ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಗೋವು, Ramana Maharshi gave mukti to Lakshmi Go. Lakshmi, there are many birds and animals which came to Ramana Maharshi's ashram. There, many of them are sadhakas, very advanced sadhakas, have taken a birth and get a teaching and mukti from Ramana Maharshi. They have taken the animal form and come there. Because there's some prarabdha karma, they have got animal life, but they have come to Ramana Maharshi because they are Purvajanma Samskara.
So human life is not needed.
No, I'm saying there are two types of life. Animal life. Animal life continuing and growing to human life is one level, one type. Human beings, because of some prarabdha karma, has taken animal life, but good karma, they have gone to Maharshi is another life.
So they need not come back to human life for
They have already gone to human life.
Yeah, I know.
They have already gone through such a level of maturity in human life. They need little bit of touch. That little bit of touch they get in the presence of Maharshi in the animal form.
But Bharata wanted one more life.
Bharata didn't get that touch. See, it all depends on their karma now. the touch of Rishi will liberate him in a dear life, or it requires human life, is the next question. It is not that same thing will happen to everybody. Bharata went to Rishi's ashram, kept on listening to teaching, then developed further dispassion. He continued studies in the Rishi's ashram. Then he became Jadabharata.
Yes, Guruji.
Understand? Whereas these people, maybe Lakshmi Go or somebody, they have already completed their education. They're waiting for a final touch from the master. Is there a difference?
Yes,
Is the answer clear?
very clear, Guruji.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Shall we close for the day? Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti 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 Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamuduchyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Nanu Nanembudu Nanalla Ideha Manabuddhi Nanalla Sachidanandatma Shivanam Nani Shivoham Shivoham Shivoham. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm pure consciousness, Shivaswarupi. Atmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Satyadarshanam. To know the self is to know God. To know God is to be God. To be God is to know the truth. Antarjyotihi, Bahirjyotihi, Pratyakjyotihi, Paratpara, Jyotireva Jyotihi, Swayam Jyotihi, Atma Jyotihi, Shivosmiham. I am the light of the self, awareness, Atma Jyoti. I am the light illuminating the world, Jagat Jyoti. I am the light illuminating the mind. I am the light beyond all lights, Paranjyoti. Light of love, light of compassion, light of peace, light of wisdom, self-luminous light, Swayam Jyoti, Atma Jyoti. Lokaha samastaha sukino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukino bhavantu. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. With that, we'll conclude this session. The question about liberation at the time of death.